Change is the buzzword of the day. It's popping up just about everywhere you look, in just about every topic in sight. And when it's used, it implies that things aren't so hot today, but they could become a lot better tomorrow. Change usually means progress. Change is a word that's also been used to describe what's going on in the payments industry. We're going through a period of creative destruction. Visa and MasterCard have just become publicly traded companies with combined market caps of more than $100 billion. Venture capital money is pouring into the industry, and there are lots of cool new startups. But for those of us who've been in the industry for a while and who've heard the chorus of change before, the industry's track record of delivering real change has been pretty unimpressive. Pundits have been telling us that the cashless society is right around the corner for more than 50 years. Yet cash is cheap, easy, and anonymous. It's been around for 3,000 years, it's very low tech, and it's hard to beat. It still accounts for a vast portion of consumer spending. There's been a significant decline in the use of paper checks. Check use overall has been declining at about 7% a year since 2003. But small businesses still find this 14th century Italian invention pretty useful. And even big ones can't seem to give up living off of the float. A decade ago, some forecasters said we'd be making a large portion of our purchases online today. Yet even though e-commerce is exploding, online spending accounted for only 4% of retail spending last year. And then there's the dumb old magnetic stripe card. We've been paying with one of these for more than 25 years. The Chinese recently had to pick a technology for their infant payment system. Something cool, like contactless, biometrics, maybe brainwaves. Nope. They went with the tried and true swipeable mag stripe. Despite the fact that everything involving payments could be done electronically, we still rely on vast amounts of paper and plastic in the process of paying each other. So why has change in the payments industry been so elusive, at least here in the United States? Why can't we be green in the Al Gore sense of that color? Well, for one thing, consumers seem to pretty much like it the way it is. Let me just focus on the plastic part of the payments industry. Cards work well, and no one's given consumers a good enough reason to try something else. Cards are accepted just about everywhere people want to shop, and paying at checkout is really fast. We recently did a survey of more than 500 consumers of all ages. Nearly all of them said nothing's broken, and that the process today was safe, convenient, and fast. They aren't yearning for change. Merchants, despite all their griping, also seem pretty happy with the current state of affairs. Sure, they like card fees to be lower, but they care a lot more about making their customers happy and earning hefty margins on incremental sales. That's the lesson that some of the alternative payment companies have learned the very hard way. Pay by Touch, Tempo, and Revolution Money each began their lives as no interchange fee alternatives for merchants. But these startups did not offer consumers any compelling reason to change, and merchants won't accept cards that consumers don't carry and that consumers don't want to use. So change for the sake of change does not work. But in fact, profound changes are happening in the payments business. Changes that will transform how consumers shop and how businesses sell. The sixth revolution in the payments industry in the history of mankind will surely take place over the next decade. It will take place around the world. It will bring tremendous value to consumers and to businesses. And it's going to reduce the amount of paper and plastic we consume in paying each other. Now, most people who talk about change in the payments industry focus on the physical method we use at the point of sale. They talk about contactless and biometrics, about paying with mobile phones, or with our eyeballs, or with our fingers. But that's focusing on the tail rather than the dog. The physical method of payment is just an input device to the vast payment network that moves digital money between consumers and businesses. Much talk about change in the payments industry focuses on the payment transaction. Gee, if we could just wave our cards at the point of sale, wouldn't that be a lot better? Well, no, not really. It might be a little bit quicker, especially if I don't have to sign or type in a PIN. But contactless really hasn't gotten much traction in the United States because it's about making marginal improvements in something that consumers and merchants think works pretty well. Consumers don't see the need for change, and merchants don't want to invest in installing the necessary new equipment. The profound changes that we'll see will be less about changing the mechanics of how we pay and more about transforming the whole process of transacting between consumers and businesses.